Let's go ahead and install our MotoControl harness. To do this, there are a few simple connections, which are all labeled. First, we have a positive battery lead. Next, we have our first ballast connection, which also leads to a grounding terminal. In the same area, we also have a high beam connection. Now, here we have the plug that goes into the factory high and low beam connection. In this case, we have a H4 style connection, but this varies depending on what your vehicle uses. And finally, we have our second high beam connector, second ballast connector, and our second ground lead. Once you have the wires placed, let's go ahead and mount our motor controller. Now, to mount the motor control box, use the built-in tab and use an existing bolt on your vehicle. Make sure and mount it vertically so that you don't get water going into the connector and going back into the motor control box. It can be slightly to the side, but no more than that. Now, we're going to use this battery tie-down bolt to mount our motor control box. To do this, we're going to bend this built-in tab, remove this nut, and put it on. Now let's go ahead and plug our MotoControl harness H4 plug into the factory H4 plug. Now let's go ahead and ground our first grounding terminal. Now keep in mind, when making the ground connections, be sure to choose a bolt like we did that is going straight into the vehicle's body. This is a very essential part because if you don't get a good ground connection, then your HIDs will not work. And honestly, this is the #1 cause of HIDs not working. Now the next step is to connect the positive battery terminal. Do this by taking the terminal that's labeled battery plus and connecting it to the bolt that's on the positive battery terminal. Now luckily on this side, we actually have a bolt with a grounding terminal. Let's go ahead and take the bolt off and ground our harness. Now that we've installed the second grounding terminal, you should go ahead and get some zip ties and secure any loose wiring.